and welcome our beloved viewers to RTD's News English edition. As usual, we'll begin tonight's news with the major and top highlights. Let's follow. Beginning of the preparatory meeting of foreign ministers, the 31st Arab League Summit. And on the international scene, we got South Korea, 151 dead in a stampede in Seoul. Those were our major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, has strongly denounced the terrorist attack carried out yesterday, Saturday, against the city of Mogadishu, the Somali capital, which resulted in a highly tragic death toll of more than 100 and 300 injured. The cruel nature of those responsible for the attacks that blooded Mogadishu yesterday is commensurate with this barbaric choice on a crowd of great affiliates in order to dodge the largest number of innocent people, said the head of state. Terrorism is the work of people without faith or law and whose abject error of judgment consists in acquiring the consent of the public through violence and intimidation. President Guelleh then lamented, I ask you to convey the assurance of my compassion and solidarity to the families, relatives, and friends of the victims, as well as the government and all the brotherly Somali people, the head of state noted in a telegram of condolence addressed to his counterpart, Mr. Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud. I wish a speedy recovery to the injured, he wrote in the same document. Perpetrated in the form of a double car bombing, the terrorist attack that blooded Mogadishu yesterday has, among other things, targeted the premises of the Ministry of National Education in the heart of the living forest of the Somali sister nation. Back to Dahiro. In the same framework, at least 100 people were killed after two car bombs exploded near Somalia's education ministry in the capital Mogadishu on Saturday. More than 300 others were wounded in the attack, said Somali President Mr. Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud in a video statement. The two car bombs exploded near a busy intersection in the capital and near the Ministry of Education, according to an official with the President's office. The intersection was the same location as a deadly bombing attack on October 14, 2017 occurred, which killed more than 500 people and injured around 300 others. The president of Somalia, Mr. Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, went to the scene of the bombing and made a statement. He said, and I quote, "Today's cruel and cowardly terrorist attack on innocent people by the morally bankrupt and criminal Al-Shabaab group cannot discourage us but will further strengthen our resolve to defeat them once and for all. Our government and brave people will continue to defend Somalia against all evil." Mahmoud added. The Somali president said those who were injured were in a serious condition and the death toll could rise. Our people who were massacred included mothers with their children in their arms, fathers who have medical conditions, students who were sent to study, businessmen who were struggling with the lives of their families. By the will of God, no other October like this will happen. They won't get the chance to commit such a thing, Mr. President Mahmoud said, calling Saturday's attack a repeat of the 2017 bombings. The work of the 31st meeting of the Arab Foreign Ministers preparatory of the Council of the Arab League is taking place since yesterday in the capital of Algeria, which hosts the Arab League Summit scheduled for November 1 and 2. The Arab Ministers of Foreign Affairs met the International Conference Center, Abdul Latif Rahal, for the adoption of the agenda and the examination of draft decisions and their endorsement. The work of this meeting continues for several days in order to examine various topics, including the Palestinian issue. The head of the Jubairian diplomacy, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, and the permanent representative of our country to the Arab League, the ambassador of Djibouti in Egypt, Mr. Ahmed Ali Bari, and our ambassador in Algeria, with residence in Paris, Mr. Ayad Moussad Yahya. In his speech during the inaugural ceremony of the meeting of Arab foreign ministers, the Secretary General of the Arab League, Mr. Ahmed Abdul Khalid, stressed the importance of this summit, which, according to him, is based on the hopes of revitalizing the links and partnerships between member countries to face the common challenge. Under the chairmanship of the Member Parliament, Mr. Abdurrahman Awali Yassin, the Foreign Affairs Committee examined this Sunday, October 30, the draft law on the ratification by the Republic of Djibouti on the African Charter of Road Safety. The meeting of the committee took place with the participation of the Minister of Equipment and Infrastructure, Mr. Hassan Muhammad Ibrahim, and parliamentarians, members of other committees. At the end of the commission session, the deputies members have transmitted, with their positive opinions, the ratification project for adoption at the next public session. The Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Mrs. Ulufa Ismail Abdo, received this Sunday an official visit of a World Bank delegation led by the head of the Social Protection and Employment Unit for the MENA region, Mrs. Anoush Bezayan. The first meeting between the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity and the head of the Social Protection and Employment Unit in the MENA region comes with the framework of the preparations for the upcoming launch of the Emergency Social Protection and Food Crisis Response Project, which will take place this Monday, October 31st. This project is being implemented by the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity in collaboration with the World Bank to address the negative impact that multiple exogenous shocks have had on the Djiboutian population. The proposed project will thus provide assistance and safety nets transferred to target households affected by the crisis and strain adaptive social protection mechanisms to respond to future crises. Last night, the Ministry of Youth and Culture, in collaboration with the Embassy of Egypt, accredited to Djibouti, organized a gala dinner evening as part of the Djibouti-Egyptian friendship. This colorful evening is crowned by an exhibition of arts and crafts, cultural events, and folk dances presented by artists from Djibouti and Egypt. Were present in addition to the Ministry of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibu Mu'min Asawi, the Egyptian ambassador, Mr. Hussam Eldin Reda, several representatives of diplomatic corps in Djibouti, a representative of the Chief of Staff, and all the officials of the ministry. Beyond the Septimian's dinner, the folk troops of the two brotherly countries have shown animations and dance steps full of grace and flexibility. Under the hearty applause of an eldest enjoy, the Egyptian ambassador, Mr. Hussam, emphasized the importance of this evening. For her part, the Ministry of Youth and Culture said she was honored by the participation in this evening gala dinner as part of the friendship between Djibouti and Egypt. The minister stressed that Egypt is among the first African countries to host the National and African Day sponsored by the MJC, which will be held at People's Palace on November 1st. The event was closed by the presentation of gifts to the Minister of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibo, and the family photo. As we mentioned, the event was closed by the presentation of gifts to the Minister of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibo, and the family photo. Initiated by the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, the Citizens' Day allows to encourage the awareness but also and especially the belonging to the Djiboutian nation. It also contributes to the strengthening of the national social cohesion to train men and women capable of innovative adaptation and creativity and able to lead in dignity their social and professional life. Giving a clean and beautifying touch to the schools and their surroundings, this is the concept of the citizen appointment which took place within the CSFOP/TL today, Saturday, October 29th, marked the first Citizen Day of the school year 2022-2023. The program of the day was rich in events such as waste collection, cleaning inside and outside the center, cutting up plants that have not grown properly. It is in a strong atmosphere of folk dances and national songs and perfect cohesion that the Citizens' Day was successful. the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development, in collaboration with the Regional Center for Mapping Resources for Development, which is also known in short as RCMRD, organized a needs assessment workshop for phase 2 of the GEMS program. The workshop was chaired by the Director of Environment, Mr. Hussein Rirash, the Director General of the Regional Center for Mapping and Resource for Development, and experts from the RCMRD. The main objective of the workshop are to engage dialogue, network, and synthesize East African stakeholders, including the private sector, policymakers, academia, and end users, to the GEMS and African Phase 2 initiative. This phase is also expected to raise awareness of GEMS and Africa Phase 2 activities at the national and regional levels, focusing on the following 6 outcome areas: improved policy and institutional framework for sustainable management of natural resources and climate change based on space science and technology applications, improved access to each observation data and information products on natural resources, environment and climate change, and relevant institutions in East Africa information services are operational for policy makers.
Then service number 3 is on Open Geographical Reference Vector Database for agroecological zones. So within these services, we are anticipating to work with the Minister of Environment to help us establish the needs of various stakeholders in Djibouti. Then going forward, we are going to develop case studies within which we are going to use Earth observation data from the European Space Agency. Remember, this GMS and Africa program is funded by the African Union Commission under support from the European Union Commission. So generally, stakeholders and delegates, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to this workshop. And thank you everyone for honoring the opportunity to come and participate in this workshop.
The founder and head of the theatre school Iskofilan, Mrs. Mariam Abdelkader Musa, organized an open day at the first Djiboutian theatre school Iskofilan. The sermon was attended by several parents accompanied by their children. After the welcome speech of the school director, the Iskofilan troupe performed a skit entitled Register Your Child, a strong message to sensitize parents to register their children. At the end of the day, the director of the troupe, Iskofilan, recalled her enthusiasm for this theatre school, which is the first of its kind in our country, she said. She also thanked the many distinguished guests, first the Prime Minister Abdelkader Kamel Mohammed, the Secretary of State for Sports in the Ministry of Youth and Culture, and the Vice President of the UNFD, all for their travel to celebrate the opening of Iskofilan Theatre. The third Ordinary General Assembly for the Regional Council of Ali Sibih was held yesterday, Saturday, in the conference room of its headquarters. Note the presence of the Secretary General of the Regional Council, Aden Abdullah Adi, the Director of the Agency of Roads, Ali Sibih, Radwan Aden, who also exposed to the audience the development of activities of his agency. The projects carried out by the Regional Council and those in prospects of construction soon were projected for the occasion. Concerning those implemented before, there are 2 markets built in Ali Addi and Holhol, the playground or regional parks of the chief town Ali Sibihville, and many others. During this third Ordinary General Assembly, the debates exposed by some, questioning of their colleagues and their proposals, took place in an atmosphere respectful of the spirit of democracy. The Djiboutian Federation of the Table Tennis organized Saturday, October 29th at the meeting room of the Goulet Stadium its elective General Assembly. This assembly has seen the participation of club president and committee chairman, as well as representative of the Ministry of Interior, the Secretary of State for Sports, the National Olympic Committee, and the belief. The assembly began by welcoming the participants and the projection of the activities realized. After this projection began the elections of the new president. For this election, there was only one candidate in this case, the outgoing president, Mahmoud, who shines a new mandate after being re-elected for a term of 4 years for the period from 2022 to 2026. Shifting gears towards the international scene now, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol promised on Sunday, 3rd October, a rigorous investigation into the stampede that killed at least 151 people. The previous evening in central Seoul in South Korea, where tens of thousands of mostly very young revelers were celebrating Halloween for the first time after the pandemic. The accident occurred on Saturday. Let's follow for more reports.
Yon Zuke Yola has declared a period of national mourning following a deadly Halloween crash in the country's capital, Seoul, as a distraught relative flocked to the city's hospital searching for their missing family members. This is truly tragic, Yon said in a statement on Sunday, hours after some 151 people were killed in a car crash in Seoul's Itaewon district.
Well, by this, our beloved viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us and make sure to tune in later for more. And as usual, we wish you a wonderful evening. Please take care. Thank you.